This episode of Old Games Old is brought to you by SwitchFix. SwitchFix is a better way to play the Switch on the go. With a sleek, lightweight design that allows you to plug in your Switch, clip in your Pro Controller, and play comfortably. No more faulty attachments or Nintendo Switch grips. SwitchFix is a game changer. Get your Switch Fix today at getswitchfix.com or join the giveaway by clicking the link down below. There are 6 ways to win. Through the link, you can subscribe to Chiptooth Gaming, like a CTG video, or visit SwitchFix's Indiegogo page. Share the campaign with your friends, join SwitchFix's exclusive mailing list, and a bonus entry when you do all 5. One more time, that's getswitchfix.com or enter the giveaway in the description down below. Now on to the episode. Welcome to the 6th episode of Old Games Old, Chiptooth Gaming's bi-weekly gaming retrospective podcast. You can get this show on youtube.com/chiptoothgaming and the podcast services of your choice. My name is Noah Frescop, and across from me, the San Francisco treat, Eli Shaw.
What's up, world? It's your SF treat.
The one, the only. Tell the people out there what we have now. The glorious thing that Mikey Double D Doherty has bestowed upon us.
We have merch, people.
Do you see this logo right here? You can put that on your body.
Beautiful multicolored color block t-shirts.
It's so think obnoxious and then ratchet that up a couple notches. That's our shirt, and we're doubling down on it. It's loud, it's proud. Old Games Old now at Teespring, teespring.com/chiptoothgaming.
I believe so.
Yes, I'm gonna double down on that. I'm not, if it's not Teespring, sorry, but not sorry at all.
Our logo is too good to not put on.
I just want it on it. I just want,
apparel.
I want like half of my belongings by the end of the year to just be OGO shit. #OGO on Twitter.
Hell yeah, let's get a sticker.
A sticker would be awesome. I would put that on my laptop for sure, because I need to take off a couple of those, because you know when like something's a good idea in the moment, and then 6 months from it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I have a Ninja Turtle sticker on my laptop.
That's dope, though.
I'm 22 years old.
That's true. There's some good... honestly, shout out to the 2003 series. That's probably...
absolutely.
That and the IDW comics. I unironically enjoy those a lot. Those are great.
I fuck with Ninja Turtles. Custom Robo is a 2004 GameCube game developed by Noise and Nintendo. The studio Noise works in collaboration with Nintendo, but has not put out anything since 2013. This is the 4th entry in the series and is the first game to be released outside of Japan, and it currently sits at a 65 Metacritic, which I'd say is criminally low.
That seems ridiculous. Did critics just shit on this game upon its launch?
I don't know, I'm thinking back on it. When it launched, it was pretty good for the time. Like 2004, what did you really expect out of video games?
That was a great year, though. 2004 was a phenomenal year, and I'd like to go down that, because I could see it kind of just barely falling under the competition. Yeah, 6.5 IGN. Damn, that's surprising, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's really surprising.
It's almost like they didn't see the vision behind it. Like, this is kind of, imagine Pokemon with robots, but the Pokemon that you want, where you can control them and like fight each other, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like we talk about with every like old franchise that's kind of dead, like there's absolutely a market for this today in 2019.
Oh, totally.
Like, people would eat this shit up, especially with if it was at like some kind of co-op nature or something. But yeah, it would work perfectly for the Switch. So yeah, I'm looking at the list of 2004 games right now, and I totally understand why it kind of flew under the radar. Fucking World of Warcraft, San Andreas, Doom 3, Half-Life 2, Fable, Halo 2, Star Wars Battlefront, Knights of the Old Republic 2, Burnout 3. Like, there were some heavy hitters here. Metal Gear Solid 3, Far Cry, the first one, which is not a very good game. Crash Twinsanity, probably the game of the year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck World of
Warcraft.
Warcraft.
3, fuck World of Warcraft.
Oh, Jack 3.
Spider-Man 2. Like, get out of here.
God. Yeah.
2004, underappreciated year. There's a lot of good shit in there. Anyway.
No, yeah. Somehow, in that year, of all of these amazing games, I found the time to pick up Custom Robo and play through the entire thing. And love it. I got in trouble for playing this game.
Oh, no.
Before school. Yeah, I woke up
Oh, no.
You ever... do that thing where you're like, okay, I'm gonna play until I go to bed.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna play it when I get home from school, but I cannot wait that long. That's like
Yeah.
a full like 29 hours.
You
know?
wake
like,
up early and you're like trying to be quiet. You're like trying to tiptoe down. It's like every button on the TV is like the loudest thing you ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, I got caught right away and, couldn't play video games in the morning ever again.
Banned.
No, banned. Yeah, they basically took my shit away.
Man,
but
Custom Robo does that to you.
That good.
I respect that. That's great. That's a great story. I love that actually. That it totally caused you to. You lost everything. What did it cost? Everything. But anyway, so as I was looking at gameplay for this, I just realized it's basically if you turn Zone of the Enders into an isometric, like, and gave it like more RPG elements. That's literally exactly what it's like, and I can't get it out of my head, even though that is the framework for a lot of mech games. But it's just like the emphasis on like darting around and just the ranged attacks and the missiles that you have to stop and then fire, like just the little minutia like that. But what were your first like experiences with the game? Like, did you find it like kind of weird at first, or did it kind of click right off the bat?
I feel like it clicked right off the bat, which is so weird because like I didn't really play a lot of Japanese games as a kid, besides like Pokemon and like some Nintendo games here and there, but never like definitely not a deep like RPG at all.
Yeah.
So it was weird to like, I don't know why I picked this game up. I just saw it and was like, oh, this looks cool. GameCube robots. Sure, let's do it.
Get in there.
And then, yeah, it just throws you in like, all right, you're this kid. It's the typical like JRPG story. You're a kid. Your dad dies. Your dad's final wish was you become this great champion.
Why do you gotta put that on me, Dad? What the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, kid takes down a whole evil organization and also kills this evil robot entity that it like possesses some toys or something. It's such a weird story.
That's
bizarre. Like the government's involved too.
The government's always
recruiting
involved.
People.
They're always like the guys in the suits with the fucking briefcases. They're just like in the corner from the shadows, like the G-Man from Half-Life. It's exactly what it's like.
But like, dude, this is totally. If you like Pokemon, like this is very similar to Pokemon in structure, but instead of like animals, it's robots.
And that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Would Digimon be like the cross between these, with like infusing animals with technology?
I mean,
it's not the same thing. I know
it's not the same thing. No,
I don't know what I was thinking. But.
Yeah, it's like everyone's very much like separated from the little robots. Like they're little toys basically that you're controlling in like a arena.
Yeah, it's like Gundam Build Fighters.
Yeah, it's more like Beyblades, I'd say, than anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the gameplay is all there. The JRPG kind of structure is all there. Like it's the very stereotypical like anime face and dialogue blurbs pop up type of experience.
Absolutely.
Why do you think it never really took off like some of the other Nintendo IPs? Because like it has all the ingredients. Everything's there. It just never really kicked off.
No, I really don't know. And like this is not the first entry of it. It wasn't just like a one and done. There was like this is the fourth one, and they made another one afterwards, I think, for like the DS or something. Like,
yeah, there's definitely a DS one.
Yeah, I don't know why Nintendo just dropped the IP and never like came back. Even like with the Wii, Wii U, 3DS, there's so many instances where they could have. Yeah, even the 3DS, like they made fucking
everything. What? They made Metroid. They got them to make Metroid again. That's not
Metroid
games.
Prime Pinball or whatever. Like
Metroid.
They made
shout out to Metroid Prime Hunters. Well, that was on the normal DS, but yeah, just and Federation Force. Rage. I can't. I just the sweet rage of that whole announcement. I thought it was hilarious. But anyway. Going back to this game, yeah, like I can't believe they never made another one, and I didn't know that there was that many entries. Not gonna lie, I always remembered like my first exposure to them were the trophies from Super Smash Bros. Melee, and one of them was one of the characters from Custom Robo. So it always looked cool even then, and I think it was from the N64 one because I remember the model was not very good. So yeah, like it always struck a chord with me visually. And just going back and like watching the gameplay now, it's like I would love a new version of this.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, the gameplay is really, I think, unique. Like, there's nothing really that kind of fits where it left off, you know, like.
Yeah.
So basically, the gameplay is you are in an arena. Sometimes you'll have like more than 2 people fighting. Sometimes it'll be like teams, but you'll have at least 2 people. You start the game in like little tubes, your little robot guy, and then you shoot out. You can shoot wherever you want, basically.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty cool because like sometimes if I was like heavy on like dash attacks or like shotguns or something, I would always like figure out where they're launching and launch right next to them and just fucking blast them right in the face.
Nice.
Or so I had this gun towards the end. I'm just gonna jump around here.
Oh, absolutely, jump around.
Hopefully this catches your attention. Like, I had this gun towards the end, which basically clowned out everyone except for the last boss, who was fucking the hardest thing I've ever fucking done.
Ridiculousness.
Yes. But it was a gun that would shoot like 3 or 4 swords into the air that would just like hover and then like lock onto the person, just like go at them.
That's rad. Just the imagery of that is like, is there anything cooler?
Nothing. And like you would just shoot away into the corner and then just keep spamming your gun, and then the whole sky would be filled with these swords and just fucking like dropping down on them. They wouldn't even have a chance.
Just imagine that in today's graphics. Like, what is happening? I know Nintendo, like, the reason, you know, they weren't making new F-Zeros is that they think they can't really do anything else with the franchise. Like, they want to constantly be iterating, even when it's not always for the best. They're always iterating. That's the one thing you can give Nintendo, is that they never want to be stagnant. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, with how action games have changed, it's like there's obviously things you can do with this.
Oh, definitely. And like, the customization, like, it's pretty deep for a 2004 GameCube game, but like, there's only, I want to say like 30 something different like robots. Like, you could definitely up that at least double it, you know, and like
60
just make
robots.
the game bigger.
Yeah, bigger, and then but also just, you know, not wanting to be overblown and bloated. I guess that's always the struggle, but. Yeah, just I guess going with that back with this game, do you think it benefits from having those RPG elements, or do you think it kind of like bogs down what is the main gameplay, is the combat?
Oh no, it like the RPG stuff really gives it like its heart, like Custom Robo, like customizing your little robot is pretty much the name. It's literally the name of the game.
Yeah, it's the name of the game.
So yeah, like the more RPG you can get with that, I feel like the more it like lends itself to the framework of customization. Like, you have stats, like each little, like, so they're called chassis, which is like your actual robot.
Yeah,
like each one will have stats for like the time you get knocked down, like your recovery time, your defense, your speed, your like sky movement, which is like jumping or hovering, and then your attack.
Okay.
So like, it's really like, and that's just your chassis. Like, you have a gun in your right hand and a bomb shooter in your left hand, and then a backpack that's just an extra ability. And then you also can like customize your legs. So like, maybe you just want to fly more, maybe you just want to run really fast. Like, there's so much customization that like in like the modern age of RPGs, like the depth, you can really set yourself apart with like Nintendo doesn't have anything that's this deep, I feel like.
Yeah, no,
that can be this deep.
They've doubled down on the easy to pick up stuff, and like Breath of the Wild is probably the best example of something that's like a really deep, very systems driven experience, but that's pretty much it, and that was a pretty drastic change from their whole pedigree beforehand. So, yeah,
and that's open world kind of melding, you know, Western RPGs with Zelda, rather than like full on like a JRPG kind of like deep version. Like, this is just a deeper Pokemon. Yeah, you know, for Pokemon. everyone who's like, oh, Pokemon's just baby's first RPG. Like, okay, get Custom Robo. That's your next step.
That's middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is probably pretty apt. But you know, it's insane to me that it doesn't have a place in the catalog right now. And I feel like, do you feel like there's a chance? Like, what's the percentage chance that you think that this could come back?
I mean, the fact that the studio hasn't done anything in like 6 years, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty low. I would say if they would have kept referencing Custom Robo in Super Smash Brothers rather than stopping at Melee, like with trophies or, whatever.
I feel like they may have. I don't actually, but I just remember it leaving a mark on me with Melee. I don't know if they have discontinued it or not.
I think reading in the Wikipedia, that was the last time they did it.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
if
bizarre.
there's like a Mii costume, like I'll be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they kind of just like are not really acknowledging that this is something that exists at this point.
Like F-Zero, like all these other things that they're just leaving alone.
I mean, F-Zero at least has Captain Falcon, like it has representation that people know.
So why didn't they get put into Smash Ultimate? Why is there no chassis in Smash Ultimate?
Honestly, like
that would be such a cool fighter.
Chassis,
that would be so cool.
It just like kind of Pokemon Trainer. It's just so similar, and it's I mean, there's still DLC fighters coming out. Maybe they'll put out Ray from Custom Robo and be like, hey, Custom Robo game on Switch coming 2020, get ready.
Backwards compatibility for GameCube is finally here. It's not gonna happen, but
no, never.
Unless they add it to their online service, which I would hate. Like I just want to play them downloaded offline. But anyway, we'll worry about that another day.
Yeah, I mean, if we ever get to GameCube, what's it called, Virtual Console, and you have the chance to play this game, I would say 100% do it. Like it's not, awesome. It's pretty quickly done. And like once you beat it, there's just another kind of like new game plus mode, and then a mode where you're just doing you're just playing through tournaments basically with like harder fighters.
That's cool. Yeah, there's plenty to eat on there, or to chew on rather. So yeah, if it does, on the unlikely chance, get re-released or it's revitalized as a series remaster, you'd want this one out of all of them remastered?
I mean, I mean, this is the only one I played.
That's fair.
And I feel like the rest of them are, like there's a Nintendo 64 version, there's like a DS version, blah blah blah. Like this is probably the most comparable to a modern console game.
Okay. Then that's definitely where I would lean. It looks sleek, even for the time. Like a lot of games from that whole era, there's like most of them who really do not hold up, but this one, the ones that have the more stylized visuals, they definitely hold up better. And you wouldn't really have to do much to really breathe new life into them visually, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great, but like, you would just have to go into it with the mindset that I'm playing a GameCube game, you know?
And a lot of GameCube games are gorgeous, but yeah, that one definitely just leads into the more minimalist graphics. It probably didn't get that big of a budget. It was a pretty small team, right?
I mean, I looked at how big the team is today, or at least the last time it was reported, and it was 25 people. So you can't really do much with that amount of people, except I think they're making like mobile games at this point.
Oh, that's just so sad. Just like thinking of all these studios with like great IP that just go on to just make like really uninspired, like soulless mobile cash grabs. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and like there's so like coupled with Nintendo, I don't know why Nintendo isn't utilizing them to like at least put something on the Switch, like have more Nintendo first party stuff.
And they're trying. Like I'm pretty surprised about how many new IP that they're putting out. Like just. And they're partnering with the right people so far. But yeah, if they have this studio so close to their belt, why not employ them? Like even just like a smaller project or a downloadable title or something. Like it doesn't have to be a full $60 retail release.
No, yeah, and like it doesn't need to have like a full story even. I feel like this game could work as just like a $20 or $30 game that is like like double the amount of items from this GameCube version, and just have like a tournament mode, or like kind of like Super Smash Brothers. Like there's not really a story there, but like you're just playing it because it's a fun like fighter,
Yeah, but what about So I just started the World of Light mode the other night, and I can already not remember the main like big bad guy's name, so I can't even reference it. That's how little of a story there is. It's like there's that sweet cutscene in the beginning, and then it's just Kirby kind of just waltzing around this green like Mario 3 tile screen with all these levels. But yeah, it could easily just have, here's your versus CPU mode, here's your multiplayer that probably only works a little bit at the time because it's the Nintendo network. But yeah, just something little to satiate it, because Zone of the Enders certainly ain't coming back. So, I mean, and the Daemon Ex Machina is leaning more toward like an armored core.
Yeah, that's a total different.
Yeah, more of a simulation angle, but also very customizable. Like every element of those games are customizable, so there's a little bit of a Venn diagram with that. But yeah, definitely, ultimately a very different gameplay edge.
What was I gonna say? I feel like this game would be perfect on Switch because like you can really lean into local co-op on this.
You can like, here, one Joy-Con. They love using that imagery, even though it sucks to play that way. It's an option.
Absolutely, and like I don't know, I just think they're kind of messing up by not like making another version on the Switch, because I think it's perfect on the Switch, to be honest.
Just the isometric gameplay. It's not super high up. It's close isometric, and that's very easy to wrap your head around. Even if it was two people playing in co-op next to each other with the Joy-Cons, like you could all very easily distinguish what's going on. Like the UI is very simple, scores and all that. Like it shouldn't be that big of a challenge. Of course, game development is hard, but like it wouldn't be a drastic overhaul to say like when Monster Hunter went from portable to console. It's like that was a drastic change. No, they're just basically do the same thing again, but with more features.
Yeah, and like I feel like at least in the GameCube version, like the more like graphical intensity was pushed onto like the gameplay part rather than like the overworld like run into people and fight them part.
Yeah, it wasn't very good looking in that regard.
Yeah, so like when you're playing the game, like that's really when you're like fighting the robots, that's really where it needs to shine. Like it doesn't need all of that stuff on top.
Like it's okay to just have the static text image with the character's face with like a mild emotion, maybe. Like you really don't need all that much, or even voice acting really. Maybe in the combat, just like call it's like like the attacks. But you really don't need a full voice cast and a full story like a Fire Emblem level. You really don't need that at all.
No, yeah. I mean, you played Super Mario Odyssey, like how much talking was in that,
Yeah, now that you mention it, I mean, there's always those little blurbs from characters, but yeah, there was probably more than usual, except for maybe Sunshine. Sunshine, like, people just would not stop talking. Like, that one's probably the most dialogue-heavy one. I'll go down. Sunshine is probably the best Mario story, but that's of course, saying very little.
Saying much?
Yeah, it's not saying anything at all, really. So yeah, it's really surprising that the Ray isn't in Smash at this point. Like even like Brawl, like I feel like they were doing weird stuff. Like I'm surprised they just didn't pick him out. But I don't know if people don't really care about the IP anymore, then. But that's a way to like renew interest in the IP too. It's like they could have a chance to revitalize it, and they didn't or haven't yet.
Exactly. This IP could totally exist in 2019. Like I see kids playing with Beyblades like all the time, and that was something that was around when I was like 6 years old.
Yeah,
like
I never thought that would come back. Like when that first kind of like faded away, or at least I like grew out of it. Like I never thought that was gonna continue. I thought that was just one of those like the toy anime that always just come and go in droves. But no, it's still here, and I've seen kids playing it. It's like wow, it's nuts.
No, yeah, this is just like one of those toy anime shows, but like no toys to life. It's just the video game.
Oh, they could do it with fucking amiibos too. They can make amiibos, dude.
Yes,
yeah, they can make
Nintendo.
So much money. That's like an entire line of its own. Like all these little chassis or whatever they're called.
You are so right. Custom Robo could be the way you push amiibos, dude.
I just got a bazillion dollar idea. So you know how some like toy lines they would do like a piece of a larger character in a bunch of different things.
Yes.
You put a Custom Robo part in a bunch of the other amiibos, so then you could like put them together differently and emphasize that customization element. And then there's like an extra rarity on top of it, and then the amiibo guys just like jerk off all over it because they never see anything like it. It's like double the rarity. Nintendo. Just do amiibos. Don't even do the game. Fuck it.
Look, Reggie's gone. Like, you can start fucking around now.
You can do anything. Okay, anything. I miss Reggie. Like, I already miss Reggie a lot. Just, it's good. E3's gonna be really weird without him. But he was probably why. He probably like, no, I don't like this.
I don't like Custom Robo.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm just
not enough.
I need to play Animal Crossing.
Yeah, not enough.
This Nintendo 3DS.
My new Nintendo 3DS too.
Oh, bless his heart.
Doug Bowser, get fucking.
Doug Bowser probably fucking loves Custom Robo.
Yeah, he's the anti-Reggie.
He's the total yin yang of Reggie. And I love how he's just
I'm painting this guy in a light, and I don't really know him.
Yeah, we don't really know how he's gonna personally personify himself, except that he's just totally doubled down on the whole Bowser thing. He's just like tying up fucking stuffed Marios and Luigi's.
Kinky. We'll see at E3 how we feel about this dude.
I'm really
if he brings Custom Robo back, I'm all in on.
Imagine that fucking Nintendo Direct. We got Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch, and then we got Custom Robo.
Hell.
And then you know what? Just give it to him. Pokemon Snap 2, and then I don't really give a shit, but they'll enjoy it. They'll do the thing. Which is another one. It's like, you've had better applicable or more applicable hardware to do Pokemon Snap since they haven't done it. So yeah, Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing. Or they do know, and they're all smarter than us, which is probably the case.
It's true. I couldn't run Nintendo.
Reggie held the door for 15 years or whatever.
You need that big body.
Yeah, I need that big body.
You're into JRPGs that are like also action games that are also kind of like fighting games. You know, this is the game for you.
Yeah, and in the era,
a gun that shoots swords.
That's
like,
I mean, what more do you need?
No, wait. Okay, so there's this thing called a pod that shoots. It's like an ability kind of thing with like a cooldown.
Yeah.
There's a thing called a dolphin pod.
What?
It shoots like virtual dolphins that will like dolphin jump and attack your opponent.
PETA would not like that.
I don't care.
I don't care either, but imagine PETA Twitter account somehow verified. This fucking horrible demonic video game allows you to kill hopeless dolphins. Shut down Nintendo.
The most innocent of the creatures on Earth.
The most docile and beautiful, pure creatures that'll fucking eat your balls off if they get the chance. Dragon's Dogma is an action RPG developed by Capcom that released in May of 2012. Even though we're coming up on its 7th anniversary with the recent Switch re-release, there's no better time to play this absolute jewel of an RPG. Alright, I know you have questions. Lay them all on me. I'm ready to go.
Alright, so first off, I just gotta say, Dragon's Dogma, no idea what that means. Like, I've heard the word dogma before.
Here's the thing, honestly, we're gonna break this down. We're gonna break this down. So dragon refers to the titular antagonist, the generic dragon character that I don't know if he has a name. And then,
so there's only one dragon in this game?
There's like drakes and stuff, but like in terms of like legitimate dragons, there's one, and he is the final boss, unless you can count the expansion as afterward. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
Dogma, as defined by Merriam-Webster himself or herself, I don't really actually know. Something held as an established opinion or a code of such tenets. So like a point of view or tenet put forth as authoritative. So the crux of the story is that the dragon in one of the very first scenes, after the first flashback scene happens,
alright,
sticks his big fat dragon nail in the main character's heart that you create through probably one of the best customization systems ever. It's insane how many characters you can make, but he basically takes his heart out, kind of like Dragonheart. And he is basically bound to him through some magical curse or whatever that he spills fantasy jargon at you, and then all of a sudden that's the way it is. So
the dragon can talk.
The dragon can talk, but it's in like
Okay.
a broad,
Like Smog.
kind of like Smaug, except not as good at all. It's
Okay.
not nearly as effective. See, I don't really know what the name correlates. That was a really long-winded way of saying I have no idea what the title means.
Fair enough. And I think we can just go ahead and include the Dark Arisen expansion, you think?
Yeah, it's more of a end game, like high level area. But yeah, there's not too much going on there.
Okay. Because I think if you're gonna buy it in 2019, like that's pretty much the only way you can get it.
Unless you want to get the version that the servers are shut down and everything, then I would not recommend that.
Okay. So I gotta ask, tell me about this pawn system.
Okay, so the pawn system is very cool. If you play online, which you should play online on this one. I know like most single player games do not need to be connected to online or whatever, but this actually changes it a lot.
Okay.
So a little bit into the game, you get to create your own pawn, which is basically like your party members, but instead they're like brain dead slaves. So they do anything you want, and they basically follow your command without any question whatsoever, and they're completely emotionless.
All right.
And then they give you the most mundane and terrible advice all the time. That's like super obvious. It's like,
kind of like
fire burns you, and then you're like, of course. But then they say it like dozens of times in a minute, and you're like, and then you hear it so much that your brain breaks, and then it becomes endearing. This is the cycle of Dragon's Dogma. Anyway,
Awesome.
So you make one pawn. You can choose basically the entire customization of your own character. You basically can redo, so you have just as much choice in appearance and what classes that they pick in the beginning. So there are 3 classes. There's the Strider, which is like uses knives and a bow and arrow, and then there's the mage, and then the warrior. So like warrior uses sword and shield at first, and the mage uses staff, a Gandalf staff, and he flings spells. And then each of the class has like basically a subclass where it kind of leans deeper into different like talents. For example, there's the sub of the Striders, the Ranger, which is basically all bow and arrow. They get like a longbow, and then the I can't remember exactly what it's called. The Warrior is the subclass of Fighter. So Fighter is the initial one that you get to choose. And then Warrior basically wield like this like giant longsword, and so on and so forth. And then like Sorcerer, who doesn't even use a staff or anything, and just Assassin, Magic Archer. It gets kind of nuts. So you have a wide variety of choices when it comes to aesthetic and gameplay. So you build your first pawn, and you get the option to share it with the like the online community, and other players can see your pawn that you've leveled up and you've taken on quests, and take that into their own party. So you have a party of 4 altogether. Your player character, your player character's pawn, and then 2 recruited pawns that they don't level up with you, but your partner one does. So that's the one that's going to stick with you the whole game. But otherwise, you're constantly swapping out these pawns for new ones that have leveled up and that have seen more. And the quest that you go on with your pawn, that'll constantly level it to up 2. So it's not going to be like a level 1 version. It's going to be whatever the most recent one is, if that makes sense. And also, it'll remember what quest you go on, so then it has the potential to, in someone else's game, kind of guide you or give you directions on the current quest or like the weaknesses of the enemies you're going to face. So it takes all of your experience and it boils down to a character that other people can use without even knowing you, which is pretty cool.
That is just so much, and I can't believe
Yeah.
When did this game come out?
2012.
Like, that's not like too long ago,
No,
but still, like,
7
I can't
years.
believe they were able to do that then. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine a game now kind of doing that, you know?
And I hope all of you DMC fans are enjoying Devil May Cry 5, because we could be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 right now. He got the director got the choice to make Dragon's Dogma 2 or DMC 5, and he made DMC 5, which is probably the right choice. Like, everyone's eating that game up. It looks awesome. But
It looks pretty good.
in another alternate universe, we could be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 right now, and we could be seeing the evolution of the pawn system and all the other gameplay elements that all of the games should be stealing from it, and they don't.
Do you think he's working on Dragon's Dogma 2?
I think so. I would put money that's the project that's being worked on. He wants to do it really bad. He just wanted to do a DMC first because it'd been like a ridiculous amount of time.
Okay.
Like over 10 years or something. Yeah, over 10 years.
I could see like a new Dragon's Dogma being pretty crazy with the way like Capcom is like doing Monster Hunter World with all those crossovers.
They're killing it. Like Capcom is on the top of their game lately. Like the Monster Hunter World is like their most successful product ever. They got DMC5, which is completely like harkening back to what people love about action, character action games without any of the fluff or anything like that. And then Resident Evil, going back to its roots with 7, and then going back to one of the most highly requested remakes with 2, and knocking it out of the park. It's like they're only on an upward trajectory, and Mega Man 11 coming out and not being terrible. Like they're absolutely killing it lately, and I have pretty high hopes that we're gonna see a sequel to this probably a little bit into the next gen. And then just thinking about what it could look like with the next hardware, I'm just like, holy crap, there's so much potential here.
Did this game come out on like current gen consoles besides Switch?
Yes, so it got released 3 times technically. So it came out first for PS3 and 360, and then I believe PC, and then later, and then by the time it got PC, it had the Dark Arisen. So after the first release, it's just Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen.
Okay.
And that's for the current gen consoles, the PC and the Switch. Now the Switch is apparently like a middle ground. Like it has worse pop-in than the regular on the current gen console versions. Like it's really, really bad in the original, but then it's like also really bad in the Switch one, which is kind of weird. And like this is one of the games that it doesn't bother me. Like that's like one of the worst things to me in games. Like it takes me out immediately when characters will just like be right in front of you. And like I hate that stuff, but like it's just like something about this game's like quirky and weird aesthetic and the characters that say the same shit over and over again. Like it's all kind of mishmashed into something. You're like, I shouldn't like this, but I can't help it. So yeah.
No, everything I've heard just like reinforces like that quirkiness where it's
goofy.
like
it's goofy.
But it's annoying at first, but then you just love it.
Yeah, it's like it's just like wolves hunting packs. It's like you hear this shit like over and over and over again, and you can disable it if it really bothers you. But I can't help it. At least in the first few hours of the game when it starts out, it's just like all those like Masterworks all, you can't go wrong. Like it's just you hear them all just over and over and over again. And Netflix announced that they're gonna do an anime, and I really hope it's in 2D and not 3D like Berserk, because it could be really cool otherwise. But yeah, just like I can't imagine that being good without them completely hamming it up and going goofball with it, because that's so crucial to what makes this game so good. In addition to the combat and everything, like, it needs to be hammy, it needs to be silly, at least in moments.
I just started watching the Castlevania anime last night, and like I'm almost done. I don't want it to go that dark.
That's dark. Like that's probably the best use of Castlevania. So are you on the first season?
I just started the second season.
The second season, okay. Yeah, like it is messed up. It doesn't need to go there. Like it needs to be. So what I love about the like general like aesthetic and feel of everything, it's a Japanese take on like European fantasy.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like totally through the lens of Japan, but it's using all of those tropes and just like the the warriors, mages, and rogues classes basically, and like the whole like the D&D kind of rules for how things are supposed to work, and then just like hamming it up to 11, like having you like climb on monsters and like using all these crazy combos and throwing whipping swords around you, so you get that crazy ass Japanese action, but with the look of a very traditional fantasy game, and that's what really sets it apart. Because I really can't think of any other Western RPG that has a combat system as good as this game's. And it is very similar to Monster Hunter, but since that's focused on co-op, it's inherently different. But yeah,
it looks a lot faster.
Yeah, it's a lot faster, and just like you can physically grab onto the monsters and climb up on them. Like one of the first monsters you encounter in the world is just like a Cyclops, and you get like this little, a fairly large area to fight around in. But yeah, you want to be getting on it and like climbing up to its head and like slashing it in the face and just like picking out the weak points. So they're not just basically bigger bricks to fight with and watch a health bar go down. Like they actually feel like you're fighting that monster. Like you're shooting arrows at its eye. You're dodging it when it's slopping down on you. Like each creature feels like a wholly unique experience, and that's why I feel like the combat holds up so well, because they make sure every encounter, and the game's not that big in terms of space, so that they're able to like kind of focus it. And that's my main worry with a new game, is that they're going to make it like gigantic open world. It's like, no, it was really good that the areas were much more like smaller and more confined and more articulate.
Yeah, I hope like if they do go forward with this, it kind of like follows the path that Monster Hunter's going, like at least that kind of structure, but like gameplay that fits with this style. Like well, it's made by the Devil May Cry guys, so closer to Devil May Cry it seems like they kind of lean towards than Monster Hunter.
It's like a weird middle ground, because it's not as good as Devil May Cry, but it's also it's taking into apart a bunch of different character classes and different weapon types and everything. So it is a role playing game, and it's trying to manage that. But yeah, I think it would probably be smart for them to follow the kind of games as service Monster Hunter model, because that's really successful for them, and they're actually one of the only studios doing it right now. Because like people are just still eating that game up, and they're still continuing to support it with the new expansion that got announced today at the State of Play thing. Like people are still playing that game. They're doing all the, like they did the Devil May Cry event, they did the Witcher event. Like they're doing these cool crossovers and keeping the community engaged. And that probably would be something good for Monster Hunter. They actually, or for Dragon's Dogma, they made an MMO. So there's a Dragon's Dogma like MMO that's only available in Japan.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you checked that out.
No, I haven't fully checked it out. It looks fine. I guess it's just overly grindy and has a lot of the same problems as every MMO has. So I haven't really, like, there's a way to play it here, but it's just too much of a pain. It's for me to play, even more shallow elements of just this game. I just play this game again, because each class feels like you're playing an entirely different game. So the replay value is immense.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have a favorite class, or like anything you would recommend to someone who just wants to like check it out?
It depends on what you're playing on. If you're playing on PC, I would definitely say go to the Strider. Just being able to more accurately use the bow and arrow and couple with the daggers is a ton of fun. The Strider is probably my favorite, because you do get best of both worlds. The other classes, they can kind of feel samey. When you're just a sword and shield character, there's only so much shield bashing you can do before it gets tiring. But when you have, you're juggling between basically two different combo sets. So every character, you can basically purchase moves as you level up. That's your main method of getting more powerful. You're actually getting more powerful through experience and not just giving you more stats. So you get new moves, and they take up different controls. So like the controls, it would probably look really daunting, but it all feels very intuitive. So you're basically equipping different moves to buttons. So you can have like this is going to be my R1 button, or so on or so forth. So yeah, you're kitting your character out to do moves that you have realized that you needed in the battles beforehand. So you already are building up like this almost your own mental bestiary of how to take down these different creatures and everything, and like what moves work. Because for example, like the harpies, they'll swing down at you, and one of the moves you want to get for the warriors when you sweep upward. And so it's not quite to the extent of like a Devil May Cry, because there's like tons of moves and stuff to purchase. It's a little bit more streamlined, but also takes into account all the different classes. So probably if you combine all of the different classes in one, it probably is comparable or exceeds a Devil May Cry in terms of depth. But for an RPG, and one that's under the guise of a Western RPG, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it sounds like each kind of class has its own way of dealing with certain enemies, like in its kind of unique style, huh?
Yeah, and that's why the pawn system is so cool, because you're constantly being able to switch out and see those moves in action. And you could see a pawn use a move you might not have unlocked yet and want to like go out and unlock it. So yeah, so you want to constantly be changing out, rather than like, let's say like a Dragon Age, like Inquisition, like you kind of find your group and you kind of stick with them, and you gear their actions and behaviors toward your strategy that you just kind of rinse and repeat, and it manages to keep itself fresh by not letting you really rinse and repeat unless you somehow are managing to find replacement pawns that were exactly what you wanted in the first place. So you're basically just doing the same, but at least when you're online, there's enough of a variety. I don't know how the Switch community is, but at least with the PC one, there's enough of a variety of different kinds of pawns to grab. So you're constantly seeing new stuff, and you're seeing new characters and new moves.
Okay. So yeah, we talked about like how it kind of is like a Western type of setting, but yeah, I saw they took inspiration from like Elder Scrolls and Fable. Do you think like they would, if they made it in the next let's say Dragon's Dogma 2, probably what they're not going to call, I don't know.
Dragon's Dogma Darker, I don't know, something. They're gonna. It should. I kind of want a subtitle rather than just a numbered sequel, but
yeah.
I don't know. I just think numbered sequels are less exciting than a subtitle, but that's neither here nor there.
Do you think with their next iteration they're gonna take from like more modern RPGs, like Witcher just blew up, and they even have Geralt in Monster Hunter? Hunter,
yeah. There's always that. There's already that relationship between CD Projekt and Capcom. Yeah.
Do you see them taking anything from like more modern Western RPGs like they took from Elder Scrolls and Fable, besides the setting?
So yeah, I could see how the Elder Scrolls was always a lot more, at least before Skyrim. Skyrim was very much in the Game of Thrones style, very like cold and a very like muted color palette. But beforehand, Elder Scrolls was very vibrant and colorful, and like you were existing in this like almost alien world, especially with Morrowind. So rather than, Dragon's Dogma is very kind of like washed out, like it's trying to emulate kind of like a realistic color palette. I would definitely go for something a little bit more bombastic and colorful, closer to like a Monster Hunter, because I love the tone of that game, just because they're all like having a blast while they're hunting these like giant, just absolutely horrific beasts.
Yeah,
like,
it's like a game within a game.
Like they're always like smiling and like they're having a blast doing it, and like they're just like used to it. Like they're just, this is fine. Like I think if you just kind of even more double down in that sillier, the goofier aspects, I think you're play on fantasy tropes and crack some, maybe not jokes, but have some dialogue, kind of like basically hamming up all of the fantasy things that we've just been done to death at this point. So yeah, make it a little bit more colorful. I would love to also see if they just kind of doubled down and did like a really like dark fantasy, like Witcher, Game of Thrones like kind of aesthetic. I think that'd be really interesting, but still kept the crazy high octane action and then have like this weird contrast, which might actually be more faithful to the original, because it was visually pretty scaled back and pretty minimalist, but then once the action starts, it's absolutely mania. So yeah, I would probably opt for something a little bit sillier and more colorful. If it were my choice.
Also, so is it like Monster Hunter in the sense that you are basically going out to hunt like a giant thing, or are you going out into this world and like you'll run into bandits and then you gotta kill the bandits, but your mission is to just like go do something, and then besides like the end goal is to kill this dragon? So is there any how's that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
It is very much like quest driven. So like you'll get pretty like at the beginning it's like kill 10 rabbits, and it's like the most mundane shit, but once you actually get out into the world and you're coupling with all these different mechanics and party choices and all these things, that it actually ends up becoming really compelling. And then by the end you're going on like these like very like long distance treks across the map. You're barely making it to the place with enough stamina, and then before you know it, you're charging a castle and there's like armies of goblins like you're fighting, and there's like when the one Cyclops was a threat, now there's like 5 of them on the field, and there's like cannon fire going above you, and like it goes from like the most like modest and easy to wrap your head around stuff to just absolutely epic shit, like just like the monsters and the dragons. My mistake, there are other dragons, but they're a lot smaller than the main one. I just remembered like one of the coolest moments that I kind of hate to spoil actually is that you'll just be like out in the wilderness, and then all of a sudden this big old dragon like flies above you, and like it kind of parks down by a river, and it's like it looks like it's like drinking out of it or something. And then like these bandits come down and they try to take it down, and the dragon just like whoops all their asses. And like I don't know if this is like a scripted event or something that just like happens, but like it makes the world feel pretty alive, even though there's a lot of just kind of like walking and nothing's happening. So that's one thing I'll say is like the pacing isn't very good at times. It's like when you're in combat, it's a blast, but then you'll just be kind of like walking for long stretches, and there'll be like caves to explore, like other like random monster encounters, and you're like finding the Cyclops in the middle of just nowhere and toward the beginning, or going on to where your quest is, but you get distracted along the way with like these other creatures, and then you realize you're not leveled up enough. And that's another thing. This game does not care about you. You adapt to its rules or you will die. My first playthrough actually I like totally broke it. So there's a quest board right in the very, very beginning, as soon as you get basically control, that you can complete. And without the experience you get from those quests, you're pretty much worthless for a really long time. And I thought it was just really hard. But then I went back, I was like, oh, wait, there's this quest board here, and I did those. And then instead of just like going from main quest point to main quest point, you really have to soak up the area and do as much as you can before traversing. And you need to be leveled up, or you're not going to do well. And another fault of it is that it kind of points you to do exactly that, just to go to the main quest points, when really you need to just stop and take a second, explore, find quests, do things for people and everything else. And I guess another thing people will kind of like harp on is it gets really easy, so it'll start out pretty tough, but once you're by the end, like, you're a god, like you can just take down anything.
You're a god,
which is pretty gratifying, and I like it a lot. But I guess if you're not a fan of uneven skill gaps and like difficulty hikes, and that's something to look out for with this one. But yeah, you if you plan your characters wrong, or you just you refuse to do some side quests and you're not leveled enough, like, you will there's no way you're gonna be able to succeed. And I kind of respect that. Like, a lot of games, very handholdy, but this one's like, oh, this is how we're gonna tell you. We're just gonna completely annihilate you with these monsters that you can't possibly hope to defeat, and then you'll come back with like way better weapons, and you'll just like take them all out like instantly. Like, it's so gratifying, especially after the Dark Arisen expansion. You just come back, and the main world is just an absolute, just a slaughterhouse for all the creatures and goblins and stuff. And there are bandits that'll fight you, but probably my favorite combat encounter, there's like this fortress on the side of this road that you're supposed to get through, and depending on which gender you pick for your character, they're basically like an all-female band. So if your character is female, they won't attack you, but if you're a male character, like, they'll jump you and like try to like rob you. And also, another way that your character creation affects everything is, like, if your character is like larger physically, there's going to be some ledges and things that you can get up to, that if you're a smaller character, you can climb, you can crawl under things. So it's like, it makes your character creation not just be aesthetic. So everything in this game has some kind of mechanical or systemic purpose, which I really appreciate. Just like having to think like, oh, if my character is small and female, you could probably sneak by these bandits and not start a fight. But if there is, or if you're a male character, like, you're gonna get your ass kicked. So that's also another thing that makes the replay value go up tremendously.
Yeah, it sounds super deep and like very much like heavy into classic like D&D type RPG stuff.
And it doesn't shout at your face. These things happen. Like, it very much, it teaches by showing and doing and making you.
It's organic.
It's organic. It's organic in the sense that, like, when you're first experiencing it, after that, it's very much like it follows the specific beats every time. But the first time, like, there's this, there's a very dynamic feel to the world. Even though it's not a very big one, there's these things happening that are genuinely interesting and are genuine sights. And things that are compelling. And the day and night cycle actually matters, in that it's kind of like Dying Light, where at nighttime, like, the enemies will come after you and it's a nightmare. So it makes you manage your travel with both your stamina bar, which goes down the further you go without resting at an inn, or just being able to even survive the night in the first place. So you kind of have to manage, I'm close to this town, I probably can do like this quest before nightfall, or this quest but not on both. And then you're judging time and your characters and your stamina and where you are in position to the world. So you really get a very concrete and organic feeling of presence. Like, you feel like where you are, who you are, all really matters ultimately, when most games, they're just vanity.
Dude, like, how is this game so deep and but 2012 and like nothing after the expansion or whatever. Like it's just been dormant, being ported to other things. Like I think I'm ready to try it.
You really? I sold you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
The reason that they were able to get away with all this is because it looks like dog shit. It's like one of the ugliest games ever. It has like moments of beauty. There's like moments of like landscapes and like, you know, like the god rays will be coming through and it looks really nice. And then like you'll see some of these characters' faces and you're like, oh my god, like what are you? And yeah, like just the repeated voice lines and the, you know, the bugs and kind of like the pop in and like it's probably like the most unpolished masterpiece of all time. Because it's really not polished at all. And I'm surprised even with these re-releases that some of the stuff hasn't been fixed, especially like the pop-in. Like I don't see, that's actually why. So the engine that they used was not designed for open world, so they were pushing it to its complete limit, and so things were just like popping in, and it should have never been made on this engine. But this engine also created this beautiful, horrific masterpiece. So yeah, it's rough around the edges, but once you really get into it, you'll come out with probably one of the most rewarding and satisfying RPGs you could possibly play. And like it has a really core but devoted fan base for a reason.
Oh yeah, Austin Walker, Patrick Klepek, huge giant fans.
Yeah, it's like you talk to someone about this game and like I guarantee you like their face will like light up because like it does that to people, and it did for me. Like I was hooked for so long, and there's just so much to unpack. There's so many different ways to play it, and it's like you can definitely find a fun niche. Like personally, I don't really like how the mages feel, but you go on YouTube and find like videos of high level mages just completely annihilating everything with like these crazy ass spells, and you're like, this is so cool. And I can't wait to see what a sequel brings to the formula, because I feel like there's significant room for improvement, but there's also immense meteoric potential with this IP. And I'm hopefully the funding from all these different releases has given them enough cause to say, yes, we should make this sequel, and that people do want it.
Yeah, I hope if they do make a sequel that they kind of keep the heart of it and the things that people love, because a lot of it was pretty like revolutionary, I feel like, or at least unique to the game, and not like, I hope they don't go too heavy into like, oh, what's popular right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just keep that really unabashedly Japanese and silly core to it. Even if some of that stuff wasn't intentional, like it's caught on now with like the memes and stuff, you know, like all, you know, the Masterworks All and Wolf Sunday Packs and all that shit. So like people love that stuff, and maybe add more of it, a little bit more variety in like the voices and stuff. But yeah, just kind of go nuts. Use, you know, either the RE engine, which is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, just imagining a sequel in that engine does just the DMC5 like character models are insane. Like, yeah, it's absolutely insane. Just imagining like one of the horrible, grotesque character creation protagonists walking out, and just like, but with that level of fidelity. Yeah, but like better than Dark Souls. I'm really hoping in like the next like hopefully like 2 or 3 years we see something, because that would be amazing for like PS5 and Xbox 2 or whatever.
Me too. Hope we see something at E3.
That would be sick. That would be insane.
Yes.
I would lose my shit. This is a lose my shit level E3 announcement.
E3 is going to be big this year. I can feel it.
Yeah, even without PlayStation doing a conference, like there's going to be some big shit. And we're going to see more Cyberpunk. We're going to see a lot of shit. And I'm very excited. And if Capcom wants to drop this bomb out,
do it.
Please.
What else do you have, Capcom? What else are you working on? Just let us know.
I mean, hopefully a Street Fighter that people like. That's their one thing this generation. They haven't been able to nail their fighting games, which is kind of
true.
Yeah, like Marvel MVC was not good.
No. Trash.
Yeah, just come out of the gate with a more polished, but still quirky and goofy, maybe a little bit more colorful, or not just go crazy, you know, very realistic Witcher, Game of Thrones kind of look. I'm down with whatever, to be honest. And yeah, just come out of the gate swinging, have a really bombastic battle be your E3 coverage, and just kind of cut to black, show the title screen with a release window. That would be the ideal announcement. And yeah, I just play this game. It has such a dedicated following for a reason. It's one of the best action RPGs you can possibly play right now. It's available everywhere at this point. There's really no reason not to.
All right. Any last words besides listen to the theme, like intro menu music.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I totally forgot about it. The menu of okay, this is like a George Lucas edit level terrible mistake.
So I've heard.
This would be like if you made Darth Vader say no at the end of Return of the Jedi for some reason. Like, it's that bad. So the main menu theme for the original release is the greatest song ever recorded by humans. And they, for some reason, it's fucking awesome. And it's like corny and cheesy in the best, most Japanese way possible.
What you listening to, son?
I don't think you like it.
Well, why not? I like this new generation of music.
But that's what the game is to me, and it works. And the re-release, there's like this very like stereotypical like piano, like it's all instrumental. If they came out, they put the trailer of Dragon's Dogma 2 to the original song. Like, I hopefully it's like a rights issue and not a creative issue. I would be, I'd be a little bit more easy to swallow. But if they just consciously took it out for no reason, like, I'd be mad. I don't actually know. I don't think that's information is available, but I would piss me off.
I don't recall.
I hope it's not like a rights issue, because if they can, because people love that song too. Like, that's synonymous with this game. It's right there with it. And if they can use that in coupling with a new game announcement, they would win the fans over immediately, and also new people, because they would realize that the tone of this game is this song, and it's amazing. And you should all listen to it. It's called Flying Into Free or something like that.
Listen to that song. I also heard a great suggestion a few weeks ago for the anime to use that as their theme song.
That would be also, that's another get hype moment. If that happens, Netflix will have won my heart forever. And if they can somehow make this Witcher show not suck, you'll have a lifetime subscription, because that's like the only two like, I want it for Evangelion and Witcher and Dragon's Dogma, and that's it. So if 2 out of 3 of these things are good, I'll be okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be, oh my god, just imagining the opening is like, you could do so many this could be like the best fantasy anime ever. Like, it has that potential if you just are unashamed and unabashed and just do it how people like, and like, what it's known for, I think, is, and just have the crazy action, but then also the silly moments. Like, it should write itself, and I have is that gonna be this year?
No idea.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. But this has immense potential. And if they just go through the story of the game, like, they could have like a very loose, that's, the loose, like, like going to slay the dragon. It doesn't get more fundamental fantasy than that. So that gives them a lot of room to do really creative and cool stuff with it. Like that quest with, like, where you're storming the castle all of a sudden, and there's like, the only fail state is you having to wait for the basically like the kingdom or whatever, their troops to come back and like refight, and then you can go back and take it again. So like, it doesn't just push you back to a continue screen, it makes you live with what happens at all times, which is another really cool thing about it. But yeah, this anime should be awesome. The game's awesome. It's on Switch, it's on PS4, Xbox One. Absolutely give it a go if you like Japanese ass games or fantasy games.
Yeah, you have no excuse. It's on the Switch. Play it. I'm gonna play it.
Any you're playing on Switch thing?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks good. I've been watching some reviews. I was hoping to review it myself, but it never happened. It's a lot of fun. I feel like it's a perfect game to just like pop in, do some side quests, and turn off. Like, it sounds like a perfect Switch game. I'm pretty excited to get in there eventually. Yeah, give it a go. I also want Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning on Switch. Those are my 2 RPG wishes, and I got one of them. So 50%, not too bad. Any like final questions?
No, I think that's everything. Sweet. I think you sold me.
I'm glad I tried. That was my first thing. I was like, I'm gonna get away from this with Eli purchasing a copy. Hopefully,
absolutely.
It's a blast. Yeah, just have fun in that character creator. Play online, get some pawns.
Yes,
but yeah,
yes.
Just, again, the pawns, like, it's so bizarre, because like the first one you meet, he looks like this weird like Afro Nick Cage. He's just like, he doesn't really say anything. He just kind of like looks at you with like these wide eyes, and then he's like, "Come with me," and then your adventure begins, and it's glorious. And you fight this like 9-headed snake shit monster, and
oh god,
it's insane. I'm not gonna say anymore because everything's a spoiler, because everything's amazing. And with that, I think I've said my piece. I finally got it out of me. It's actually, I feel like some weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because like it kind of like, it's like kind of the like the wisp monster from Game of Thrones that like kills people. Like it feels like that's been living inside of me for like 2 years, and I've just finally let it out, and it's finally dissipated.
Great analogy.
Yes.
A character we'll never see again.
Yeah, that was rough. I'm enjoying Game of Thrones. I don't know what everyone's problems is. I mean, I know what their problems are, and they're all legitimate, but I'm still enjoying it personally.
It's ending. That's all I can say.
That's it's regardless or not, it's being put out of its misery, and misery might be probably unfortunately the most accurate term at this point. But anyway, what are we playing next time?
All right, I'm gonna hit you with a game that is cemented between a game that everyone loves and a game that has a lot of mixed emotions. Either you hate it or you're like, it wasn't that bad. I'm gonna pick Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Brotherhood?
Brotherhood.
I'm in the pro camp personally. I thought it was wonderful. Oh shit, that's an unexpected choice. I picked it. I'm gonna go with Doom 3 because I feel like I need to give this game another chance.